Welcome to the Beatles Talk Show.
Welcome,
February 8th. Here's some Beatle historical facts for the years. Did you know on this date, in 1961, the Beatles were performing at the Aintree Institute in Liverpool and also a gig at the Hamilton Hall in Liverpool. And it was the Beatles' new road manager, Neil Aspinall, who was in charge of getting them from one gig to the next.
Okay, good old Neil.
On this date in 1963, the Beatles are still on the Helen Shapiro Tour. And they're performing 4 songs a night.
So they were opening for her, basically. Okay.
Yep.
And what happened with, what was the #1 single in the U.S. for the second straight week on this day in '64?
I Want to Hold Your Hand. Perfect timing, as the Beatles had just arrived in America the day before. They've got the #1 song in the country, and today the Beatles, now being in New York City, would rehearse for their live appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show.
That's right.
On this date in 1965, the Beatles released Rock and Roll Music as a single in Sweden, where it would hit #1. On this date in 1967, the Beatles were in the recording studio recording Good Morning for the Sgt. Pepper album. And the song was inspired by John after he'd watched a TV commercial for Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Is this the one with the rooster at the beginning of it?
Yep.
That's what I thought. Yep.
On this date in 1968, the Beatles were also in the recording studio, Studio 2 at EMI Studios in London. And they had been working on The Inner Light and also
It's a good song. I like
Across
that
the
one.
Universe and Lady Madonna. On this date in 1972, Paul and Linda McCartney with their new band Wings, taking along wives, girlfriends, children, and even pets, climbed into a caravan and headed onto the motorway, stopping at whichever university town interested them. So there was sort of an unofficial tour that they went university to university. And today they went to Nottingham University.
Do you know I have that on audio? I've got the entire performance, filmed from the audience. You see, this is what Paul wanted to do with the Beatles. He wanted to, in 1969, he wanted to take them on the road, doing small shows like this, which is how they started out a decade earlier. But they wouldn't, John and George wouldn't have anything to do with it. But Paul actually did do it with Wings, what you just mentioned, going playing these little shows.
On this date in 1975, the unauthorized album, John Lennon Sings the Great Rock and Roll Hits, Roots, is sold via TV mail order in the US. And this was not supposed to be released, but of course it came out, so now it's a very valuable album.
I own that one.
And John said that he ordered one of the Roots off TV and had to wait 3 weeks for its delivery. It says there's only 2,500 copies of the album and 500 copies of the 8-track produced for this product.
I own the album, but what it is a bootleg of the bootleg. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's a good album. Actually, I really enjoy it. John was a big collector of bootlegs. He actually preferred the bootlegs over the actual release versions. Did you know that? He did. Yeah, he liked the bootlegs. He said those are the real Beatles. Those are the real, the real songs.
On this date in 1981, Roxy Music released their cover version of Jealous Guy, written by John Lennon, as a tribute record, and it would go hit #1 in England months after John died. And on this date in 1988 in the UK, there was a release of a 3-inch CD single and a 12-inch picture disc of When We Was Fab, which was the latest release from George Harrison.
Good song. I like that one.
All right, there's your facts for the day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.
So my dear friends, come back when you can.